Okay, this week has been something else. Just something else. And first off, email from Thomas. I am not worried that this group is going to have me involuntarily committed. Terry Joyce Randolph, Daniel Dowd as Pootie Twang, who actually called me on Wednesday and left me another voicemail for a minute and a half. Didn't listen to it. He gave me his phone number and identified who it was exactly right off the bat, and I could tell it was him. So I just forwarded it to investigators, downloaded it, forwarded it, so they can listen to it. They harassed the absolute shit out of me. Something came up with it. It was like a gift from heaven, even though it really had more, I think, to do with KETV. Today is a fluke. I went to type in when the exactly, because I wanted to compare the dates to the gas station and Isaac Cappy. I wanted to know how far apart they were in time. And that video that KETV did of the gas station explosion was back up. For the longest time, the article was up, but the video wasn't accessible anymore. And now the video is accessible. So I was able to record the video and take screenshots from it and show a video of exactly what I've been talking about with this gas station explosion. I was able to show where my house was, where my sister's house was, where the gas station was. The only thing that I did not include in today's video is I didn't want to take a picture of Dan. Hey, Deborah, I didn't want to take a picture of Dan. So the whole Dan getting out and then going back in and getting his brother-in-law and then getting them both back out, which is in the KETV article or video, by the way, which you can find in the description. I put everything in the description for this live video. And it's interesting because if there was just one explosion and you can see what was left after the place was demolished, how is Dan able to get out of the gas station, let alone go back in and get his brother-in-law if there was only one explosion? But there's not one explosion. And they can do and say whatever they want, but they can't have me committed because they don't like what I'm presenting. And what I'm presenting is just the truth. And they don't like that. They don't want that exposed. And so they're going to say that I'm crazy, even though if you go look at the video that I did about the explosion, I don't think crazy is the impression that that video leaves with people. And I put KETV is someone that I have sent my shit to for years. Brian Mastery was one of the first people I ever dealt with. He was their gatekeeper when I first came out because I went to Brian Mastery and dealt with him at KETV throughout all of this. When I went for Ricky Chaddick and the stuff that I knew, I went to Brian Mastery, one of their reporters, and told him everything. And at a time that I really did feel like he might have wanted to be helpful, because everyone else I went to just told me two words. They always use two words: career killer. You couldn't talk about Franklin. It would kill your career. And it's funny because when I called Ernie Chambers told me that he had issues of his own that he had to deal with. He was a congressman at the time. And then told me, you better shut your mouth because they're going to lock you up in a mental institution and drug you and throw you off the roof and then, hey, and call it a suicide. And so the first time they hit me with those weapons, and my psychiatrist was getting ready to put me in the hospital, the first hospital they called was Emmanuel. And when she told me that, I started sobbing. And she asked me why, and I told her what Ernie Chambers had told me. And so she switched it, made a phone call, and got me switched. So I went to this place called Lasting Hope. It was only 2 stories high. She said, well, if they throw you off the roof, you might break a leg, but you'll still survive. And I was okay with that. I just didn't want to go to a place that Emmanuel is what? 10, 11, 12 stories. I mean, it's a huge building. It's a tall building. And that's the reason why they're... This whole thing about, oh, they're going to have you committed is a game. Andy Villa this week has done nothing but play fucking games. Send me all kinds of weird-ass, threatening emails. Then Daniel Dowd calls me on Wednesday. What I see is that they're fucking panicking. They thought this whole situation with Neil was gonna just solve all their issues with me. And it didn't solve all their issues. And thank you, Wolf. I'm glad that I'm here because it is my responsibility because of what my family dealt with. And this former lawyer mentioning about schizophrenia being a scapegoat diagnosis. The problem is that I have seen a therapist and a psychiatrist for years. I am not a paranoid schizophrenic. If I was a paranoid schizophrenic, I would be disabled with paranoia, schizophrenic paranoia, and not complex PTSD. I have the government involved with me already and have been for years. And so they can say whatever the fuck it is they want to say, but it isn't going to work, you know, just because they say it. That's the whole reason why I told Neil, because I'm sure my sheriff would love to help them get me committed. And I told him, you know, because Neil has such this vast history of education in psychological fields, that because he's the one who's running around telling everybody I'm paranoid schizophrenic. But then if you watch the video that shows the explosion that I just did this morning, you can see why he's running around telling everybody I'm a paranoid schizophrenic. Because there's a lot. I only dealt with the explosion and the KETV thing. I didn't talk about Donovan, his deputy, committing suicide a week and a half before. I didn't talk about the guys who were right across the street at my sister's house from the garage on the Saturday. Didn't talk about any of that. Just dealt with the KETV report and the official report for the gas station. Those 2 things. And I have been working on this bottle of wine for 2.5 weeks now. I probably have 2 glasses left, you know? I just have gotten to the point where I just don't worry about it anymore. They've tried all of this shit. They've tried all of these games. And Andy Villa, who keeps saying that they're going to come get my dogs. Well, if they take my dogs, this is going to escalate all of this shit. Because hurting an animal is now a federal offense. And I have 3 dogs. You know? It's a federal offense. It will push all of this to the forefront. Trust me, it will push it to the forefront. Leave my fucking dogs out of it. Come at me. have the balls to come at me. Don't threaten my fucking animals. You know? That's like fucking threatening people's kids. That's how it is. Same fucking thing. In fact, people give a shit more about the animals than they usually do about kids. You know? And so I just am not gonna, I'm not really all that worried about it. It's funny because, again, I've been bitching at God, you know, wanting something to be able to deal with Neil and this Chad Butler handler dude that is now my new Ryan Miller. Ryan Miller was the cop that was out in Algona. And now I have Chad Butler who gets his orders from them and does what the fuck they want to do with me. In order to commit me, I have to be a danger to myself or to other people, which I'm not. I'm not the one sending them threatening weird ass emails. I'm not the one leaving weird ass unsolicited fucking phone calls on their line. That's them. And that's just this week alone. That's just this week alone. And yeah, the rocks. And remember when you had videos that they were placing rocks of some type of chemical, it looked like a black metallic mold. And it was on the surface of these big pieces of concrete and rocks. And they put 12 of them in my yard in Algona. I had a manufactured house, which is nothing more than a glorified trailer. I loved the place, and it was a great location, and I had a great view of Mount Rainier. But they put these 12 rocks in the yard, and they looked like they had always been there, and they had not always been there. Perfect example, there were 3 huge pieces of concrete in my yard, right by my front door. And I knew there weren't any big pieces of concrete there because it's where I put the solar lights every summer. And let me tell you, those solar lights were a pain in the ass because I had to have solar lights because I had a dip in my yard. And so if you weren't paying attention, you could fall into that dip in the yard. So I had solar lights so that people could see the solar lights so that they didn't go into that dip. But every time I mowed, I had to pull those things out, put them back in. And cheap ass solar lights that you put in your yard that aren't wired and you end up having to pull them out and put them back in, they break easy. That's why I know that there were that's where 3 great big pieces of concrete ended up. You know, they were harassing the shit out of me in Algona just like they are here with the help of the police. You know, Algona police, we're all helping them, you know, just like they are here. Just like they are here. And that whole gas station explosion, the official report is a lie. Is a lie. I showed it without a goddamn. You'd have to have a brain full of mush not to get the facts of what I just showed in that video this morning about the gas station explosion. There's no question. None. You know? And they can say whatever they want about me, but they're threatening me, not the other way around. Do I seem overly paranoid? Do I seem overly upset about it? I hope not, because I don't feel that way. You know? It's been a pain in the ass. It has. And yeah, I'm nervous about leaving my house and coming back and something's happened to my dogs, or as Andy Villa has told me, they won't be here anymore. So yeah, I have a concern about that, considering that they get into my fucking house at will. And now they're threatening to take my dogs. But it's like I said, they could come in and stab me 30 fucking times, and my sheriff would either say it was an accident or I did it to myself. That's how this shit works. And you want to know what? People will just take it. Because the video that I showed today from the KETV stuff and all of the shit that I showed in that video today, you have to realize people in Earling who knew all of the shit that I have just presented, they knew it. And yet they still submitted that official report to their insurance companies. So when people wonder how it is that Germans in World War II were able to live their lives and go to work with the fucking ash of dead people falling on their roofs and not have a problem with it, we're not so far removed from that, especially Earling, Iowa. Earling, Iowa is not so far removed from that because everyone there had to have known there wasn't just one explosion, there were two, that they were 9.5 minutes apart. You know, they had to have known. I wasn't the only one. The video, when they caught the second explosion, they were filming the first explosion. They were filming the smoke. And they're filming the smoke, and then you see the second explosion happen. There were two explosions. And the fact that they're hiding that fact, it happened because they were trying to take me out. Isaac Cappy had been murdered less than a year before. There was 11 months before, 11 months before. And April and May. And so April, the gas station, I believe, blew up in April. The year before is when Isaac Cappy went down. They were just trying to tie up all of their loose ends. That's the reason why Phoenix Enigma, Corey Daniels started the conversation with, we tried to reach out to you after Isaac Cappy died, and it went from that to, we didn't know who you were at all. We had no idea who you were. So you either knew who I was and were reaching out to me like you said before, or you didn't have a clue who I was, which was the story afterwards. Their story changes. Their history changes at will. Whatever they want it to be. Today I was looking, and Captain Underpants, Geo Farnsworth, set this video that he did 12 days ago. That's how little I keep up on their shit. Because like I said, I look to see if they're mentioning me, but I just want to know how many times a day they mention me and who's mentioning me. And I never looked at any of their shit. And Geo Farnsworth was like, oh, I find it interesting you don't know the date that Owen died. It was the 23rd, dumbass, which is when your guys' stuff started, and it went into the 24th. But regardless of that, what was the point of making me think, if you weren't in my town, that you were in my town? So your group is trying to push me over the edge, and you want to get me committed because your group is trying to push me over the edge. It's not pushing me over the edge, The reason why I haven't done any live videos is because it's summertime and I have so much weeding to do and so much yard work, and I've been sowing this week. I'm not kidding. I am not spending the rest of my life dealing with this 24/7. Isaac did expose Seth Green. What Isaac should have exposed is the group that he was dealing with. But Isaac couldn't expose the group he was dealing with because they were all his friends. And they were all in part of this child trafficking. That's why some people think he was calling himself a Judas, because he was trying to do this thing with child trafficking, And he invited a bunch of goddamn child traffickers to come help him with it. And the fact that he went off a fucking bridge, of course, he was dead before he ever went to that bridge. But the fact that he ended up dead shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Look at what this group has been doing to me, you know? And then they want to say that they're the victims and I'm the victimizer. I'm not sending them weird ass emails. They're bitching that all I do is fucking take screenshots and then post videos showing the fucking shit I've gotten. Their own shit, screenshots. You know? That's what they don't like. That's how they're being victimized. Well, we should be able to send you all kinds of weird threats and come after you and do whatever we want to you, and you just have to be quiet. And if you're not quiet and you just don't take it up the ass, then you're victimizing us by not just letting us victimize you quietly. And that makes sense to people. That makes sense to people. If any of you were in my place, you'd be bitching. You'd be bitching. Just like I am. You'd be bitching. But I'm the bad guy because I'm just calling it out. I'm just calling it out as it comes in. Fuck, I don't even have to go look for shit to do because they keep sending me shit every day. I wake up and it's just like, well, fuck, I might as well make a video out about this, you know? And people are watching. They're watching this, and they're watching those people. And most likely they're watching my sheriff. And they're watching Chad Butler. Because the questions that I ask, they don't have a proper answer for. And it wasn't my job. I didn't have anything to do with it. Like my sheriff is saying about that gas station explosion, that doesn't work. You know? I guess for a fucking moron it might. But if you're not a moron, it doesn't make much sense. And it shows more about what I'm saying than it doesn't. You know? They're the bad guys. And let me just point out something to you. What they're doing to me, they've done to everyone else. They were doing to Isaac Cappy. They did it to Nathan Stoltman. They did it to a myriad of people that they just didn't show up and murder. Because if you look at the Dead Isaac Cappy Club and you compare all the fucking dead people compared to this group, there's quite a few. It's beyond coincidental. No group is so unlucky, and it's none of them. It's all the people who call them out. You call this group out, you end up dying. You know? And I don't believe in fucking curses. I believe that they show up in people's towns. Like Geo Farnsworth and Daniel Dowd went out of their way to let me know they were in my town when Owen dropped over dead. That's what they fucking do. And I'm not the first they've done it to. It's just that I have a venue that people watch. And I'm very good at documenting this shit because I've been at it for fucking years. You know? I've been at it for years. And so, it's hot up here. I should have brought a glass of water too. I don't know how long I'm going to do this, but this week has just been insane. It has been insane. And I had to take time off. I had to. So, as you could see from a video this morning, I took a bath this morning. You know? I'm living my life. I'm just not... I'm not letting them have control over me or my life. And this child trafficking shit needs to be investigated. When you have a bunch of fucking criminals doing a bunch of fucking criminal shit that I'm showing, it's not okay to look away. It's not. Especially considering how many people they have fucking done this to. I'm not the only one. And of course, they always call themselves the fucking victims. You know, Isaac Cappy. What happened with Isaac Cappy before he died? They were saying he was crazy, he was a liar, he was involved with bad people, he was always involved. They did the same thing to him that they've tried to do to me. Oh, well, he's with Thomas Schoenberger. Oh, well, he's with Corey Daniel. Oh, well, he's with Tara Joyce. Oh, well, he's with. And every person they say that you're with, it's meant to discredit you. Oh, he's with Thomas Schoenberger, so he's a piece of shit. Oh, he's with Tara Joyce Randolph, so he's a piece of shit. Oh, he's with Daniel Dowd. He's a piece of shit. Oh, he's with Corey Daniel. He's a piece of shit. They're all pieces of shit that you don't want to be connected to. And they try to connect you to each one of them. It's a game. And they don't like it because I'm not connected to any of them. They're all connected. They're all connected. That's the reason why they're all so involved with all of this. You look at Isaac Cappy, they were all involved. You look at Nathan Stoltman, they were all involved. The people who were investigating after Isaac Cappy that ended up dead, this group was all involved. You know? No. Adrenochrome is not real. Name one rich person who has actually have been able to stay young their whole fucking life. Name one. One rich person. Name one. Not a fucking one of them. They torture and scare people, kids. You're under pain, your brain puts out chemicals to deal with that pain, to deal with the fear, to deal with all of this stuff. And then they do blood sacrifice and drain the blood from their victim's body. And all those chemicals are in the blood still, and they drink it, and it acts like an aphrodisiac. And they fuck each other. That's the key to it. There's no, oh, adrenochrome, they're staying young. No, that's not what it is. They're doing it for an aphrodisiac. So they can do it and then fucking have orgies and be high on the blood and the chemicals that were in that blood. It's so much more base than what anyone gives, because they want everyone to think that it's about adrenochrome. They're so smart. They're just so powerful, and they have the secret knowledge. The secret knowledge is, if any of these people come to your house, you better fucking hide your kids, your animals, your utensils. You better have a lot of Clorox for every goddamn doorknob in your house, because anything they can shove in any fucking orifice on their body, they're gonna shove it up their ass. That's what they're gonna fucking do. So your plunger sticks, your silverware, anything else, you better fucking watch it. Otherwise, it's going up their fucking asses. Because they're not only addicted to drugs, they're addicted to sex. Everything base. That's what it is. But that's crazy. You know, oh, David's talking crazy. You know? I'm just saying how it fucking is. You know? This adrenochrome that they came out, name one of them that has been able to stay fucking young forever. You know? Name one. They all get old, they all get ugly, and they all die. You know? But it's funny because after every fucking blood sacrifice that I had to deal with as a kid, I got fucking gang raped. It was fucking fabulous. You know? But I shouldn't have any emotions towards that. Let alone the fucking kid that got fucking bled out on the table. Don't have any emotions to that. This group comes after me constantly with the weirdest shit. Their shit is so It's always weird. It's always perverse. And I always feel like I have to take a shower after dealing with the shit. That's why I had to take a break. Because there's not enough fucking soap in the world to get clean from this group. And I just needed a break. I needed a break. You can't stop the aging process, no matter what. Go ahead. Stretch your skin as tight as you fucking can. You don't look young. You look like you've been in some weird kind of fire. You look like an alien. They don't even look real in at the end. They look plastic. You know? It's not normal. It's not normal. It costs a lot of money. Only rich people can afford that. I thought about actually going and having liposuction because, God, who doesn't want to be fucking thinner? But then I found out, well, then you get fat again, but then you get fat in weird ass places and then it just looks weird. Screw that. You know? Screw that. It's just, no, you can't be young. Name one government person. Name one person. You can't stay young. No one has ever stayed young. No one has ever fucking lived forever. They don't do it. They don't do it. Name one. If you can't name one, then there obviously isn't one. You know? They don't use adrenochrome to stay young. They fucking do blood sacrifice to get high. You know? Cleansing. Drinking someone's blood, I don't think is cleansing. You know? No, they do not soul jump like Skeleton Key. Again, just go to the other side. You can't inhabit someone's body. They can't soul jump. You know? All of this stuff that's they have everyone running around these dumbass rabbit holes that have nothing to do with anything. If they were in such power, do you think that they would be in the position that they are right now? Let me just point out that the fascist bullshit in France just failed. Because the people, when they were given, now granted, you can slow down the aging process by being healthy and staying good. There are no more demons. There are no more demons. And they're on the etherical land. They're on the veil. They're here, but they're not possessing people. You know? In order to be possessed by a demon, you have to have rituals and all kinds of shit. It doesn't just happen. Demons just can't. That's the reason why if you commit a crime and you go to court and you say the devil made you do it, you ain't going to get off. That you're going to be convicted because you're responsible, because the devil didn't make you do shit. You know? They're not getting younger. Gray hair, all of that, hair has everything to do with testosterone. It has everything to do with testosterone. That's exactly it. It has everything to do with testosterone. Eating healthy has a big effect. Not feeding your fucking body full of poisons has a big effect on the body. But it has nothing to do with adrenochrome or drinking fucking blood. It has to do with healthy eating and healthy living. It doesn't have a goddamn thing to do with fucking drinking someone's blood. You know? It's not about blood. It's not. You and I are going to disagree with that. It's not. My dad didn't fucking stay young. Alan Bear didn't stay fucking young. None of them stayed fucking young. They all got old. You know? Neil Gross is a piece of shit. I fucking wrote that email. I knew exactly what that fucking email was going to do. And boy, it sure did. They came out of the fucking woodwork to just dance around. Out of the fucking woodwork. That's how it was set up. But Neil is working with fucking Thomas. And Thomas can say whatever he wants. Now he wants to be my goddamn friend again. You know, he's fucking bipolar. Genetics also. Genetics has a lot to do, you know, with shit. It has a lot to do with shit. You know, it's. If you watch. I don't remember the title of it. It's a movie, and it is the second part of The Shining. I forget what the title. Doctor Sleep, I think it is. And they end up. There's a scene where they slaughter a little boy. Fucking triggered the absolute piss out of me. But that scene, that's what it's all about. Only it doesn't make him stay young. It just makes them horny. And they end up fucking each other. And animals. And inanimate objects. Fuck. They'll fuck everything. You know? And so I think that there are ways to actually slow down the aging process. But time claims everything. I just heard a quote the other day. Time is a great teacher where everyone dies in the end. And so, well, you ain't seeing anybody live for fucking ever. You know? Cleansing out the liver stones is required. I'm seeing age go backwards. Oh, really? So you saw a 60-year-old turn 12? You know? Really? Looking a little bit younger is not turning the age process back. Being healthy is not. And maybe they do have stuff. But you want to know what? For all these rich people who are doing all this fucking weird-ass cosmetic surgery bullshit, you would think that one of them would pay for the good shit. You know? The body does heal itself. That's the way it's designed. I'm a perfect example of that. I should be dead by now with all of their shit that they zap at me. Fuck, it has been intense. Intense. This Havana syndrome is not just for government personnel. Trust me. You know? And so, and I know you're not. I'm just, and I don't mean to fight with you, Gov. I don't mean to be a dickhead tonight. It's just been a long ass week. I've had to deal with a lot of weird ass shit. And the fact that Thomas sent me that email telling me that this group is trying to get me involuntarily committed, you know, I don't think it's going to work. They tried to do that with the protection order out in Washington. It didn't work. They tried to blow up a gas station to get at me. It didn't work. They've done all kinds of shit to me that has not worked. And the liver has everything to do with the aging process. Everything. If you have a bad liver, and most people do, because you eat shit. We all eat shit. We're Americans. Fuck. Do you know how much high fructose corn syrup you fucking consume in a week? And it's outlawed in other countries. And we're consuming it like it's nothing. You know? We wonder why we look the way we do as Americans. As I drink pure sugar, because that's what wine is. Pure sugar. But I like drinking a glass of wine when I do these. It just feels more calm. There should be more people watching this now. They keep me down so hard. I just like doing these live videos because the live videos a lot of people end up going back and watching these live videos. It's been interesting. But then they fuck with my numbers. Fuck, there could be more people than just 9 people in here. You won't know. Shit, my numbers change. They always go down. They always go down. They'll be up, and then I'll go back and look the next day, and they're like down from what they were the day before. I don't know how I get less views. The next day, I have less views than what I had the day before. It's just, but I think it's because they're trying to control the algorithm. That's the only thing. I'm not a tech dude, so, I did not get an alert, but I was looking for you when I saw this. Yeah, what will end up happening is that around the hour and a half mark, 2 hour mark, everyone will realize I'm on, you know? What they have intentions on maliciously doing is beyond the pale. Yeah. And they are paid to do it. The people who tried to blow up that gas station to get to me, they're the very ones who are behind this. But a fucking ex-porn actress and a child molester dude and people who have like this big long record fucking rap sheet, they're not going to be able, oh, this dude on the internet is saying something I don't like and so he needs to be committed. Shit, nobody ever gets any notifications for anything that I do. They don't. They don't. They've kept it down. And it's interesting because I went on, this week I did a video saying if you go in and type in threats in the search bar in my blog, davidshurter.com, you can see all the shit that I've dealt with. So I clicked on a video. I now realize that I hadn't removed any videos, but I clicked on the videos that deal with Craig Sawyer, and none of those videos work anymore? They're gone. How did that work? How does that work? Just gone. It's 1 a.m. in the UK. I never know what a good time is to do a live video. If I just want to get something out there, live videos are the easiest for me to do because I can just hit live and then it goes out and I don't have to worry about it. But, so if I want to get something done, I'll do a live video like the one that I did, what my concerns are about Neil Gross and the gas station explosion. I did that early in the morning. Nobody came in. I was pretty much there by myself. And that was fine. I came in here, Saturday evening now, thinking Salman was in on the assassination attempt. He was involved with Isaac Cappy, that's for sure. I just want to know if he's still involved with taking money for saving kids. Now that Russ Dizdar is gone and deceased and is no more, which is weird how that worked, I want to know if he's still accepting money, because the money that they were accepting before, you have to understand, they came out, him and that open secret dude, I always forget his, Gabe Hoffman. The reason why they came out and did what they did is because this whole homeless camp in Arizona came out. And Channel 5 News in Nashville busted him. Good. Because do you know what he did with the money that he got before? From what I understand, he was fucking spending it on NASCAR. And so he needs to be busted. They called me legally dead in court to close the case without implications on themselves. After the sheriff's, of everything that I've had to deal with the cops, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. They blew up a fucking gas station and then lied all about it. Like, I couldn't come along and just show their lies, which is what I did this morning. you know? And again, I want to say God had everything to do with it, and God probably did have a lot to do with it, but I have a feeling that because KETV is aware of what I'm involved with and what I'm doing, I think they put that video back up. Because that video that I got this morning and got screenshots of it, it hasn't been up for a long time. The article was up, but the video wasn't accessible. And now the video is accessible again. I have a feeling people are starting to look into this because there are questions that need to be answered that don't make any sense to people. They do start to make sense when they start to look at what I've been saying and then look at the situation. And that's what they don't like, you know? And I wasn't kidding. With this group, now that Neil did what he did, sending out that fucking email to Pootie Twang and Andy Villa, I have to take him out of the mix before I can go after this group. I have to fucking show everybody what this dude is before I can go after them. I have to deal with their gatekeeper first. And so I am. That's why God, it was a fluke that I found that video this morning. A fluke. I was just looking for something else. But the minute I realized that I had access to that video again, oh, you know, I went through it. I went through it 5 or 6 times. Took screenshots, you know, and then did a video about it. And sure enough, you know, because heaven is helping me. That's the only reason why I'm still here. It's the only reason why I'm still here. It's the only reason why I'm still here and able to fight. Because I should have ended up by the way of Isaac Cappy and Lori King and Max Spears a long time ago. And the only reason I am still here standing, the only reason I can think of is God. That's the only thing that has kept me safe throughout this, was God. Because there's nothing else that explains it. I'm not that lucky, you know? And it hasn't been me, you know? It's nothing I've done. It is just that heaven has been watching out over me. That's the only reason I'm still here. I give all credit to God because I shouldn't be here still, you know? Even with their fucking toys now, I shouldn't be here still. And yet, here I am. But that's because God knows. Till the very end. I'll fight till the very end. Until they take me down or this shit is stopped. And both is probably going to happen. But I ain't going to stop. I ain't going to stop. And maybe that is crazy. But again, for them to fucking try and get me involuntarily committed, which I've never been involuntarily committed, I have to be a threat to myself or to someone else. And I'm not, you know? Maybe I am a threat to myself. When you look at it, the shit that I'm doing, bringing their shit down on top of me, it isn't the brightest thing anyone's ever done. I'd have to say that. It hasn't been any fun, you know? Maybe it is mental illness, you know? But it's necessary, you know? Because I'm able to show their own shit, you know? I'm able to show their own shit. And that's what they don't like. And you can't commit me because you don't like the shit that I'm showing, that I'm exposing, especially when it's screenshots of your own bullshit. I'm crazy because they send me weird ass shit that I expose on video. And I'm crazy for that. You know? I don't think that's how it works. I don't think that's how it works. And for them to involuntarily commit me, they have to go through people in my town. And I live in small town Iowa, and there are a lot of people who are very aware of the shit that's going on. Very aware. And I don't think they want to bring that kind of shit down upon them. Because whether or not people stand up for me doesn't have anything to do with the fact of whether or not people will hold them accountable. It won't have anything to do with me. Do I think that they're gonna fucking support a troublemaking old faggot around here? No. No. But it doesn't mean that shit hasn't changed. You know? It ain't about me. It's never been about me. That's what they don't understand. This group constantly tries to make it about me, and it's never been about me. For me, it's never been about me. You know? I've said before, had it just been about me and the shit that they did to me, I would have fucking let this go in a heartbeat. Who wants to relive this shit over and over and over? But the fact that they're still doing it to kids and they're still doing it to other people, oh, fuck that. I ain't sitting still. I ain't sitting down. You know? This shit is wrong. The shit that they're doing to me is wrong. The shit they've done to other people is wrong. The shit they're still doing to other people is wrong. And evil thrives when good men do nothing. That's how it fucking works. And so I'm doing something, you know? Ooh, he's crazy. He put a sign in his front yard. You know, the dude right around the corner that has the Trump sign, the Trump Pence sign, which I don't even know why he still has a Trump Pence sign, because obviously they don't like Pence anymore. But in black marker, he wrote JFK Jr. Okay, well, he's normal, but because I'm exposing, they don't like my sign, so I'm crazy. That's how this works. Oh, well, they don't like my sign, so I must be crazy. But my sign is just pointing to a video that tells the truth. And now I have a video this morning that I was able to take screenshots of the KETV thing, who reported on the explosion, and now that's all out there. You know, I love your sign. I screenshotted it and tweeted. Do you know that I see people all the time taking pictures of that sign? I see them all the time. And then I'm out, this week I was out mowing the lawn, because I was having to mow the lawn, and I was having to pull weeds. I'm weird. Adrenochrome is all about the high. Yes, it's an aphrodisiac. It's all about the high. They don't do blood sacrifice because they think they're going to stay young. They do blood sacrifice because all of the endorphins that go into the blood when they're fucking torturing these kids, all this pain reliever shit that the brain releases, they drink that and they get high off of it, and then they fuck everybody, you know? No, government, your comments rarely ever get through. Edward Griffin talks about the weaponization of psychiatry under communism. That did get through. It's not just communism. The MK Ultra shit was all about psychiatry. The MK Ultra, when you go look through shit, and there's all kinds. I was watching this dude on TikTok who was showing examples of the CIA shit that has been released and the stuff that you can psychically affect someone's dreams and shit like that. And he was showing where they were studying all of this stuff and where they came out and showed the studies. Just like the due paperwork. This directed energy weapon shit, I showed the government paperwork. Obviously, these weapons exist, and it's not fucking Russia who owns the patents for the shit. It's the United States, because they're all involved with the patent. If they get ownership of it, they're gonna fucking claim ownership of it every time. And a lot of this shit with all these toys and the stuff doesn't have anything to fucking do with Russia. It has everything to do with the United States. The United States owns the patents for the bullshit. That's how it works. So you can't say that the United States doesn't have these toys and doesn't have the abilities and doesn't have the information when they own all the patents. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. You know, it's the same thing with the gas station explosion. The official paperwork that says one explosion that happened because of vapors and an explosion of a air compressor. You can't believe that and then look and realize that there were two explosions 9.5 minutes apart because they're opposite, they're contradictory. You can't believe both. That's how it fucking works. You know? You can't say you don't have the information when you own all the patents. You know? Then you're a moron. If you have patents, but you don't know the information, maybe you're Thomas Edison. You're certainly not Nikola Tesla. You know? There's an episode on my channel that has NASA Chief of Security disclosing anti-gravity tech vehicles. Yeah. You know? Do you really think that we're aware of all of their technology? And if you do believe that we're aware of all their technology and everything they're up to and everything they're doing, then you're a moron who lies to themselves. That's how it works. You know? I like my feet on the ground. I barely like to get in, you know. I'm not into anti-gravity shoes. I don't want to fly. I'm not a bird. It's hard to even get me up in a plane. I'll get on a boat, which is funny because I could drown in a boat. But planes, I'm not a big fan of, you know? And as far as all of this technology shit that went down, you can believe that it was a computer glitch, and maybe it was a computer glitch. But because of all of the solar flares, you should go to Google and type in what is happening to all of the satellites with all of these solar flares and see what pulls up. You'll find it very interesting. It is only a matter of time before we have a fucking Carrington event. Carrington event. Again, go look it up. It's not that hard to find. I don't want to Zoom, just Flutter. 100% they investigated me. Gov, I bet you are like me. I bet you're on so many freaking lists, you couldn't count them if you tried. I know I'm on a lot of lists. I couldn't count it. I always check the no-fly list. Even though I don't like to fly, I always still kind of like to try that to see if I'm on the no-fly list. You know, not that I give a shit because I won't be flying anytime soon. Fuck, I can't afford to feed myself right now, let alone get on a plane and go someplace. My bills have just been outrageous. So, I was about to say that I bet I'm on some fly or no-fly list like that too. Yeah, you know? Because that big bad truth teller might tell the truth to people on that plane, and we can't have that. No fly. That's what it feels like. You know, we certainly can't have people being exposed to the truth. You know, can't have that. We'll lock them up. You know, how many other people do they find on the internet? This Terry Joyce Randolph and the Geo Farnsworths and the Daniel Dowds and the Corey Daniel and all of that. How many people do they find on the internet and then they just go after them and try and get them involuntarily committed? If that's the case, I have watched a lot of people that I feel probably should be committed. You know, some of the shit they say is just crazy. You know, crazy. Shit, our politicians should be the first one. And I'm talking both Republicans and Democrats. No, I'm not a fan of Trump. I don't trust Trump as far as I could throw him, and I couldn't throw him. But the Biden was involved with the Clintons. You know, shit, if you trust that, you know, you better hide your kids. You know, they're all bad. They're all bad. And what we have is them demanding that you have to make a choice. So if you say you're against Trump, then they say that you're for Biden. But I'm not for Biden. I'm not for Biden. I'm not for Trump. I think they both suck. The fact that these two men are the best that America can come up with, you know, Tom Althouse was involuntarily committed. Who is Tom Althouse? They do, they tried to involuntarily commit me with that protection order. You know, it's just because of my training, I learn. So I don't do the same shit. The shit that I was doing out in Washington, I was under such attack. Well, of course, because fucking Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, lived 23 miles away from me. Of course I was fucking under attack. Just like I am here. The apartment building. The apartment building. When I moved in here, one of the idiots that happens to be going to the Mormon church, just to say that out loud, came up to me one day and told me, "We like it when you turn off your porch light in the morning. We know you're still alive." Why would you say that to one of your neighbors? And the group that was completely related to the ex-Harlan chief of police who was known for the biggest drug dealer in town went out of their way to let me know that they were watching me. I would park my car at night and walk, and at first I thought they were just dumbasses. I thought, well, shit, if you want to look at me in your window, maybe you should turn your light off, because I can see you looking at me out your window. But now I realize it was being done because they wanted me to see them looking out their window at me when I pulled in. That's the kind of shit I've had to go through. They go out of their way to let me know. You know, the idiot that had the dude who chased me around town with the "Let's Summon Demons" t-shirt in Harlan. Yeah, that went over real well. You know, then there was that girl from the same place that stared at me through my fucking fence. Even when I walked all the way up to the fence and put my eyeball at the fence to look at her, and she didn't move. She was still staring at me, still staring me down. And then the dude who was straight out of fucking prison, who obviously didn't own a shirt or a pair of shoes, because every time I saw him, he never had shoes on and he never had his shirt on. You know? All from the same place. It's the whole reason why I had to fucking build a 9-foot fence. You know? It's not because I'm fucking paranoid. It's because I can't keep these fucking assholes out of my goddamn yard. So I built a 9-foot fence. That doesn't even keep them out of my house. You know? And so they can say whatever the fuck they want. But I've shown how my fucking sheriff is working with them. You know? And he lied about that gas station explosion. I mean, the official report that was reported on KETV doesn't have anything to do, the official report doesn't even match that. But I guess it's all a coincidence. Nothing matters and facts don't matter anymore, you know? It's the weirdest fucking thing I've ever heard. It's just bizarre how this is all working. But I think that we're in judgment, and I think that all this stuff is happening because it's for other people. Because they're being judged now. Because they're being exposed to it, and they're choosing to look away and be complicit with evil. That's what I think is happening. because they think there won't be any fucking accountability. And I have a feeling they're going to be wrong. They are going to be held accountable. And that's why I think all of this stuff is happening. I think that's why God has me here still. Because heaven knows I won't stop. Heaven knows I won't stop. And I won't, because I love heaven. You know, I love the word. I'll serve the word till my dying breath. And you want to look away and be complicit with evil? Okay. Then that means you're okay with evil happening to you. But this morning, that bath video that I did this morning, what y'all need to realize is the reason why I did that video is because when I take a bath, I focus solely on God, on heaven, completely focused on heaven. And it dawned on me that they tried to murder me when I was naked and wet in the shower. And I'm able to return all that has been given to me. And even though they failed to take me out and my house out with that gas station explosion, the fact that they did what they did still counts. And so, for those of you who end up in the dark, let me tell you something that is going to happen as of this morning. When you end up in the dark, you're gonna be naked and you're gonna be wet, because I can return what was given to me. And they tried to murder me when I was at my most vulnerable, when I was naked and wet. And so I cast that into the darkness. Anybody who finds themselves in the darkness is gonna find themselves naked and wet. And as I've said before, in the darkness, this group gets exactly what they always wanted: complete separation from the Father. That's what this group has pined for. So they're going to get it. But without the Father, there is no light. Without light, there's no fire. Without fire, there's no heat. So you're going to find yourself in a very cold place, naked and wet. What the fuck did you expect from someone you trained to be the vessel for the Antichrist? Did you think I was Jesus? Did you think I was going to be so, oh, I love you, I feel sorry for you, you little fucking child killers? Really? That's what you thought when you trained me to be the fucking vessel for the Antichrist. So none of this should be surprising. And the cool thing about it is that you won't know if I'm telling the truth or if I'm crazy or not until you fucking take your last breath. And then it will be too late. And you will find yourself naked and wet in the cold, in the dark. So if I were you, and I'm talking about everybody, I would act accordingly and do everything fucking humanly possible to fill my heart with love so that I didn't end up in the goddamn dark. Because what I realized this week, taking the week off, is fighting with these dickheads doesn't do a goddamn thing. Fighting with my fucking sheriff doesn't do a fucking thing. All it is nothing but exasperation and frustration. But the shit I was trained to do, the shit that heaven is calling me to do, that works. That works. And so if you're threatened that you're by the fact that you could end up in the dark after your last breath, that doesn't have shit to do with me. If you're afraid of that, maybe you should act accordingly and change your behaviors. That is for Daniel Dowd, Tara Joyce Randolph, and Gia Farnsworth, and Thomas Schoenberger, and Gabe Hoffman, and Craig Sawyer, and Corey Daniel, and all of the Dead Isaac Cabbie Club. You know? If I were you, I'd fucking act accordingly. I would think about it. But your egos are too fucking big. You have spent your entire lives telling yourselves how you're more intelligent than everybody around you, how you're more powerful than everyone around you, how you're more superior than anyone around you. And so you don't have the self-introspection that comes with humility. You don't have the capabilities of that. You don't have a fucking clue how to have humility. Don't have a clue. And so you act accordingly. And you're running out of fucking time to change direction, let me tell you. Heaven will have its due. Without a doubt, heaven's going to have its due. And you can say I'm crazy all the fuck you want. You can say I'm crazy. Deny whatever the fuck it is you want to deny. Adrenochrome ain't going to make you live forever. There ain't a fucking thing that's going to make you live forever. And the solar flares are fucking everything up, including the satellites. It's only a matter of time before the power grids go down. That's what's coming. But you can stick your head up your ass and breathe in the fresh smell of your fucking bullshit, but that ain't gonna fucking change the facts. Flat out. You know? It ain't gonna change the facts. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed. The survival of the human race isn't guaranteed. I know that puts your fucking panties in a fucking twist, but it's not guaranteed. And I've had enough of the bullshit. I've had enough of the weird ass fucking threats. I've had enough of the weird ass motherfucking phone calls from Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth. I've had enough. What they don't like is that I know how to fight back. And they don't like that because they've never come across anybody who knew how to fight back. They're just used to fucking railroading anybody they fucking want. Running their fucking shit right over a person. But I ain't that fucking easy. And I am not gonna make it easy. Period. Period. I've shown what I've shown. People who want to look away, people who want to tell themselves lies, who feel that those lies will save them and that they will not be held accountable for looking away You delude yourselves. You delude yourselves. You know? And if you haven't seen the RDP 96 CIA report, check it out. I always love it when government puts stuff in there because I can read it. What happened with Tom Althouse? I haven't heard from him since the Shanti problem. I don't even know who Tom Althouse is. But the fact that they imprison anybody that they want, look at the dude that Putin imprisoned, the Navalny dude, and murdered him. You know? That's what they're fucking doing. That's what this regime is coming to do that's going to be elected in November. You know? Tom wrote The Matrix. I bet they didn't like that one. But the dude who did Eyes Wide Shut, they murdered him because you can't expose this shit. We're in a matrix, all right. It's a spiritual matrix. It's a spiritual matrix. Salmon won in court. Isn't it interesting how Craig Sawyer is everywhere, just like this group is everywhere. Anyone who comes and has a different story to tell or a different perspective, this group descends on them and does the same fucking thing to everyone that they've done to me. Same threats, same games, same shit. Their game doesn't change, you know? Tom had issues with someone after Shanti. Isn't it interesting that some brilliant dude who wrote The Matrix, they put him in a goddamn mental institution. But it was fucking a brilliant movie. The dude was brilliant. Sawman was Kim's correction on the line before. Yeah. Because Craig Sawyer is the one Isaac Cappy reached out to, thinking that Craig Sawyer was going to save him. That's how Isaac Cappy ended up in that fucking government facility, where they tortured him to death to find out everything he knew and who he had told about that homeless camp in Arizona. That homeless camp in Arizona, that if you look at the history, spurred both Craig Sawyer and Russ Dizdar to go all over national television and talk about child trafficking and how they needed you to send them checks because they couldn't accept money from PayPal or Venmo, so you needed to send them a check. And Gabe Hoffman, the open secret dude who was going to do this amazing documentary that was going to blow all this open, none of which happened. Salmon was supposedly to be Hillary Clinton's wolf. Well, the Clintons are heavily involved. Heavily involved. That's the reason why I couldn't fucking stand Biden. But just because I don't like Biden doesn't mean I have to like Trump. You know? After Cappy unalived himself. Yeah. Like shooting yourself in the fucking back of the head twice. That's how you unalive yourself with these people usually. You know? It's like I said in this video. I could be fucking stabbed 30 times and my sheriff would say, well, it was an accident. The dude fell on the knife 30 times. Or he would say, I did it to myself. Oh, well, he stabbed himself 30 times. You know, 7 of them were fatal, but he was doing it to himself. That's the shit that happens. And people are like, oh, okay. You mean there was only one explosion in that gas station and not 2 that happened 9.5 minutes apart? I guess I don't have a brain. Thank you for telling me. I would have never figured that out. And then these people want to be respected, you know? Then they want to be respected because they chose to be ignorant and allow people to be hurt. But you want to know funny enough? When you know people are being hurt and you're okay with that, you reap what you fucking sow. If it's okay for others, then it means it's okay for you, isn't it? If you're okay with other people being fucking tortured and murdered and hurt, and you're okay with that, then it's okay when it happens to you. That's how it works. You reap what you sow. That's how it works. RDP 96 explains how reality is the matrix. Well, reality is whatever everyone agrees it is. And then if they don't agree, then obviously it's not reality. You know? Then it didn't happen. People, even though people can remember that it happened that way, just because now other people. That's fucking fascist, Nazi bullshit stuff. Tell a lie long enough and loud enough, and it becomes the truth. That's what, wasn't it Goebbels who did that? Said that? But the problem is that we're an information-based society. Tell a lie long enough and loud enough, and it becomes the truth, only works if that's the only truth to be had. But if there's 50 fucking things you have to lie about, the chances of you convincing everybody about those 50 fucking things being reality, even though they're a lie, it doesn't work. You have to keep the people to the grindstone and focused on what you need them focused on. But your little phones, that bypasses it all, because the information is at your fingertips now, in your hand, usually always. It's hard to tell a lie long enough and loud enough and get people to listen to it and believe it. Oh, it'll work for a while. But we're not in the days where that works anymore. The whole thing about Trump and this whole thing about him, if you believe the official story, I have two thoughts on it. One, the story doesn't even fucking make sense, which is funny because when their stories don't make sense, it means you need to question it. That's how it works. But two, The Simpsons said that Trump died. And they just, if the story is true, and they tried to assassinate him, it didn't work. Which means the power that they once had, like they've shown in The Simpsons over and over and over again, unless you believe the creators of The Simpsons are stronger and more powerful fucking psychics than anybody, including Nostradamus, who's ever fucking lived, they call it programming for a reason. And so the whole thing about it is, isn't the Antichrist supposed to be born in Israel? No. No. The Bible was written in the Middle East. And the fucking Antichrist comes from the West. So if the book is written in the Middle East and it says the Antichrist comes from the fucking West, that doesn't mean it comes west 2 blocks down in the Middle East. It means the West. And what is the United States considered? At one time, we were considered the New World. Get it? New World? New World Order? Doesn't take a rocket scientist to find the leap, to get that leap. You know? I think that the whole shit that's happening is that they're making it. What people don't like about Trump, what people don't like about Trump, those who followed the false prophet would have, and they would wear the mark on their fucking forehead. Do you think that it's an accident of those red hats? And every Trump is a cult, dude. People worship that dude. It is a cult. Have you named one politician who has had the power that Donald Trump has had with everything and everyone? Name one. There's not one. Not one. Not a one. The whole thing about it is that you read the Bible, but the Bible was. Do you know who did the editing for the Bible for you? The Catholic Church. That's who did it. Or King James, the dude who beheaded all of his fucking wives. That dude, you know, so he could go fuck another woman. That's who did the editing for the Bible. So while you guys are trying to find truth in a book, look around. Take your face out of the fucking book and look around the world with critical reasoning. If we're at the end, which we are, people can feel it. Who do you think all the people are? You know, Henry VIII. But Henry VIII wrote the King James Bible. That's who did it. King James, who didn't like the Catholic Church, who had the Bible rewritten. You know, that's just it. Henry VIII is the one who had their King James Bible written. You know, people who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. And let me tell you, from someone who has written a book, editing is everything. Had I not gotten Confessions of an Antichrist edited, it probably wouldn't have been nominated for Book of the Year. So you're telling me of the Bible that's been edited over and over and over and wasn't even a written history at the time. These were stories given. How long were these stories given? You tell a story to someone, and then they 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 tell a story to someone, and then someone comes and tells you the story. The story that you told isn't even the same fucking thing that you're hearing. That's how it works. But I guess it didn't work this way, you know? People don't want to have their cherished ideologies questioned. And when they are, their panties get in a twist. But your critical reasoning requires constant questioning. God can do all things. Yes, he can. But that doesn't negate the fact that man can edit the shit out of things and change it. You know? Doesn't mean any of that. The problem that I have is that everybody is looking and saying, oh, the Antichrist is coming later. And everything that's coming down, the time of sorrows, that's coming later. It won't happen with me. It's coming later. It's never that it's happening now and all the shit is playing out now. You know, people don't like the fact Donald Trump's daddy was in Hummel Park. Fred Trump was in Hummel Park. And families, people who grew up with this shit, almost never break out of it. Never break out of it. I am an anomaly. I am not what's common. Standing up against this group is not what's common. Most people who go through this shit just want to run away from this group. They know what this group is capable of, and they don't want to fuck with it. Personally, me, I don't give a shit. It deserves to be fucked with. It deserves to be brought down. So I do what I do. But yeah, I mismatch between video and audio. I can't wait to watch this one. I've been watching the live ones because I don't usually remember what the fuck I talk about in these, you know? I think Donald J. Trump, dude, the guy fucking brags about sexually molesting women and then has been called out by sexually molesting women. You know? The dude said he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and no one would give a fuck. And he was right. He was right. You know? If he turned, then he turned completely. But you can't turn just a little bit. You know? He's not fucking targeted. He was president of the United States. That wouldn't happen to a real survivor. That wouldn't happen. Oh, he's not part of it, and yet he's been part of it his whole fucking life. When did any of you have a goddamn gold toilet? How many of you were fucking on Jeffrey Epstein's island? How many of you have fucking lost millions of dollars in how many fucking bankruptcies? He ain't one of you. I know you want to tell yourselves that. But when have you ever fucking done what he's done? And if you showed up at Mar-a-Lago, they wouldn't let you in. Chances are they wouldn't let you in. But he's for you, you know? Oh, I'm not blasting you guys. The thing about it is that it's just that it's the propaganda that is being fed to people. And anyone, and we're where it was with COVID. You couldn't come out and say anything about COVID. Same fucking thing about Donald Trump. You can't have a diverse opinion about Donald Trump. Because if you don't like Donald Trump, that means you're fucking up Biden's ass. You know? I'm not up Biden's ass either. He was part of the Clintons. You know? You know, the ones that were Donald Trump's best friends when he was friends with Epstein? Those Clintons. You know? And so I know that people want to look for a savior. And right now they're trying to give us Trump as the fucking savior. But he's not, he has no interest in saving any of you. You'll be lucky if the majority of you don't end up in the fucking camps that they're getting ready to enact. That's how it works. You know? He didn't have a fucking near-death experience. He didn't die. Did you watch him on the fucking Republican convention? That dude hasn't changed. He talked for 90 fucking minutes. He didn't change. He just says the same shit. It's just nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to listen. They want to tell themselves oh, he didn't mean it. Oh, he didn't mean it. Oh, please. Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago when he realized what he was up to. He knew what he was up to. Have you watched the fucking thing saying that he knows that Jeffrey Epstein's a good guy and he likes his women younger? You know? Oh, he didn't know then. When he said that, he didn't know then. I guess. You know? He said that Jeffrey Epstein likes fucking kids. He didn't say that. He says he likes them but likes them younger. But he didn't know. That's how it fucking works? Oh, he likes kids. He likes to have sex with kids. But I didn't know he was a fucking pedophile. If I said that shit, I'd be fucking taken to task. You know? Yeah, there's a book about Donald Trump titled Son of Man, the Christ. Fucking blasphemous piece of shit. Anybody else who fucking said, Joe Biden write a book like that, how would you react? Hillary Clinton, she writes a book. Bill Clinton, Hunter Biden write a book about that and say, Son of Man, the Christ, about themselves. How would you fucking react? But it's not that way with Trump, you know? You're right. Trump is not responsible for anything he's done in the fucking past. He's not responsible. He was just born today. I got to get off here because this conversation's starting to piss me the fuck off. You guys want to pray to Trump? You think he's going to fucking save you? Go for it. But when you end up where the fuck you end up, you only have yourselves to blame. Yourselves and your ignorance. And just because I'm saying that about Trump doesn't mean I'm fucking telling you to go kiss Biden's ass either. That's how it works. You know? That's how it works. If the truth is presented to you and you don't want to see it, it doesn't make you any less accountable. It doesn't. Your ignorance isn't gonna fucking save you. And with that, I guess I'm gonna go, because I'm fucking irritated now.